Mercedes engineers, when they designed the engine needed to make 80% of its available torque before 2,000 RPM. So like 1,800, because they wanted the big heavy cars to feel light, and that's how you make them feel light, is by, you know, giving them a ton of torque down.
Whoa! Jesus, mother God. Oh, take spinning the tires.
I'm Eric, and this is Johnny, and welcome back to Horsepower United, where today we get to review one of my favorite cars under $20,000.
With a V12 and 2 turbos.
V12, 2 turbos, less than 20K. How's that possible? Depreciation. That's how it's possible. So in other words, we're gonna drive a Mercedes S65 twin turbo, and Johnny...
I'm gonna ask questions that non-car people ask. Like,
yeah.
What are coil packs?
Yeah, and what makes this car so dang cool? So follow along. Yes, this is today's Uber, packing a V12 and twin turbos, and you can buy one of these for like the price of a Honda Accord. So I'm gonna do the only thing right, and that's get in the back and enjoy the ride. Hey!
Hey!
Yeah. Yeah, that is exactly how it goes. All right, not only is this a Mercedes S-Class, which in itself is an amazing piece of automotive engineering, I will admit I am 100% biased on how much I like Mercedes because I used to work for Mercedes. The amazing thing about this car is, again, it packs over 600 horsepower stock, 738 foot-pounds of torque stock, so it just puts you back into the seat and just keeps on pulling. And I'm pretty sure this car was electronically limited to like 202 miles an hour. Yeah, you guys on the internet are gonna have to fact check that, but it is fast, bloody fast. Now, I'm not gonna say the interior is like a Bentley or anything like that, because it's not. There's not a lot of wood grain or any of that. It's just a darn nice interior. You got the flip up headrest, you got the sunshade back here, you got the Alcantara suede everywhere, and again, it's nice that you got the seats for a guy like me that retract and move. I mean, look at the legroom I have in this car.
It's got power seats in the back?
Yeah, it's got power seats in the back.
Why not?
We've all looked at car stats and stuff like that on the internet to figure out how much does something weigh, how fast does it go, and all that. Well, here, I'm not gonna rely on what Edmunds or any of those other things say. We're gonna weigh this car ourselves. So down there you see Johnny, he's gonna come up on the scale right here, and this little bad boy is going to give us a digital readout and tell us what this big, giant German thing weighs. That is a heavy, heavy car, my friend. 5,000 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. It really doesn't get any better than that. Obviously that is including the driver, but it doesn't matter. She ain't no 3,000 pound spring chicken. And for a car that can run like a 12-second or 11-second quarter mile, or even dip down into the 10s with the tune, that is so awesome. And again, I'm gonna say this one more time. You can buy this car for what you can buy a Honda Accord for. Yes, this car right here is for sale at the fuel house for $18,000. 18 grand. And you get 12 cylinders, 2 turbos, and 738 foot-pounds of torque. Yes. I'm gonna get back in the back. Now, 5,000 pounds might not mean a lot to people, I guess, if you drive a Chevy truck or a Ford truck that weighs 5,000 pounds. But when it comes to cars really haven't weighed 5,000 pounds since like the 60s, when they were 20-some feet long. You know, this car's got the performance of a Corvette or a Camaro. I think the 0 to 60 time in this thing is still like 4 seconds, which is incredible. Obviously it needs sticky tires to do that. But to put in that perspective, Mustangs and Camaros weigh like 3,000 pounds. New ones are tipping the scales right at 4. But again, that 1,000 pounds is a huge gain each time. So the difference between a 3,000 pound car, a 4,000 pound car, and a 5,000 pound car is incredible. Did you just say wow?
Yeah, it's like my ears went back to the center of my back.
I gave it like half throttle.
Should I give it full throttle?
No.
So one thing I've noticed about this car is that there's a lot going on the dash, but then Eric says it's super basic.
It is basic. So what I always found interesting is that the S-Classes, even though this car was $200,000, right? And then at the same time you had E-Classes, and E-Classes started at like $55,000. E-Class actually has way more buttons and way more stuff going on, and most people get confused. Once you get used to this, then it's lock and unlock, traction control, drop the headrest, you know, sports settings. The radio is actually pretty basic, all things considered. It is a Bose, whereas the E-Class actually got a Harman Kardon in this same generation, so it's kind of weird. Why, Mercedes? Why did you do that? E-Class stereo, 2 thumbs up. S-Class stereo, yeah, okay. So the 0 to 60, I did look it up. I knew it was in the 4-second range because I used to own one of these cars, and I would take my V12 car shopping at night, and it would do really well. So I looked it up. 4.2 seconds, 0 to 60.
Wow.
In a 5,000 pound car, that's just rear wheel drive. I mean, if it was all wheel drive, it'd be mind bending.
It's like, who needs a V12?
Everybody needs a V12. Everybody needs a V12 once in their life. I'm not saying you're going to own this car for 40 years.
And this is V12 turbo.
Twin turbo.
Twin turbo.
Yeah, actually, we could go into details on that. The motor's almost like two totally kind of... Well, this motor is one motor, but when Mercedes was first making V12s, it was actually like 2 inline 6-cylinders that just happened to share a crankshaft. So they basically took a really good 6-cylinder that they knew was indestructible, and they took another 6-cylinder that they knew was indestructible, and then just put them together in a V. So they had 2 separate computers, 2 separate everything. Everything was separated between the 2 motors. They just shared a crankshaft. Didn't even downshift. It makes your jowls go in the back of your...
moves this portion.
Yeah, like I've seen people review these cars and they said they didn't like the power steering. It's not like you're taking it to a track day, people.
Weird.
You literally just drive it and then you put your friends in the back and you giggle because then it's like being on a living room couch that goes fast. Basically, the guys that are dominating Formula One are the same geniuses that had their hands in the mix of this. Like, let's turn up the power, let's make the motor a little bit bigger, let's put amazing brakes on it, and it has hydraulic suspension. Following me on that?
Got it.
There are no springs.
Wow.
There are no shocks. It is not air ride. It is hydraulic pressure that is holding this car up. So like when you look at the road and I do this, you can set it to have very little body roll. So now we switch it to the sport mode and look at the nose no longer.
Jeez.
You have a 5,000 pound car that doesn't dip. Take that back off. Now you're in the comfort and you'll notice it has a little bit more body roll.
Wow.
See that?
That's incredible.
Is that
By pressing what button? This one, right?
active body control?
Gotta learn your ABCs.
With Mercedes, you really gotta learn them because SRS, airbags, totally their jam. ABS, Mercedes is jam. ESP, also Mercedes technology. Active body control, also Mercedes technology. All of that stuff, they license to all kinds of other manufacturers. That's why all other car manufacturers have all those cool gizmos now. But it takes these $200,000 cars to develop that kind of technology. It only has 2 coil packs, even though it has 12 cylinders. So one coil pack runs 6 cylinders on this side, and the other coil pack runs 6 cylinders on this side.
So for those that don't know, what's the coil pack do?
Well, a coil pack's what fires a spark plug. And what's even weirder is that this car has 24 spark plugs, 2 per cylinder.
With coil packs, what does a normal car have? How many?
1 coil pack per cylinder, 1 spark plug per cylinder. And this has, again, 1 coil pack for the entire side, and then 2 spark plugs per cylinder. So each coil pack has to run 12 spark plugs.
You look at this car on the outside and you think a grandfather drives this car.
Damn right. Damn right.
So he gets to his grandkid's house fast.
Like,
As Vice Grip Garage says, those steel tornadoes are going crazy.
Is that what he calls turbos?
I think so. I think I heard a reference in there. There's so many references.
Disclaimer on this YouTube video. I have to say sorry to all the other guys with popular YouTube channels because you guys will say things and then my brain picks up on them.
Me too, man. Me too.
So, Cletus, man, I feel bad because I say let her rip tater chip like almost every day. Totally your fault. Mike Finnegan, also your fault that I say certified ripper. Totally your fault. I also think that's Cletus's fault, which then you'd have to figure out which one of those two got it. I will say from the guy from Vice Grip Garage, I've never said I'll be dipped, but in my head I think it.
All the time.
So, if you hear us say something that someone else on YouTube has said, yeah.
It's all out of love.
It is all
Respect.
out of love. It just means that I spend way too much time watching your videos and making you money.
Yes.
So it's just a big circle.
Yes.
Oh my god. That's even after it's sat. It gets hot.
Got some bites on that one.
Yeah, it did a little chip chip.
Soft closed doors. I still did it too hard.
Still did it too hard.
Here, hold on, let me try again.
You didn't even get it.
Dang it.
Well, you just pulled in. Yeah. I'm telling you, somebody at IKEA was like, why don't our cabinets shut like the doors of my Mercedes? So the internet talks about S-Class Mercedes having bulletproof glass. You'll see this in Craigslist ads and Facebook Marketplace ads and stuff like that. That's actually not true, pretty much not true at all. There are some Mercedes that do have bulletproof glass, but that was a very, 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 very rare option, especially in the United States. What S-Classes do have, and that's actually for years they've had it, is double paned glass. So it's really thick. I'm gonna roll this down, and if you can see that right there, there's two panes put together with some stuff in the middle. And the reason for that is to cut down wind noise. It makes the glass really absorb sound. Just like your front windshield is a multi-layer glass and it always absorbs sound. The front windshield did it because of rocks and things like that. The sides, they're doing it for wind noise. And that's just rad.
Oh yeah, I did have eggs for breakfast. There's some one-wheel burnouts.
Is that us?
Yeah, right there.
Nice.